Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining LoreLink as we look at Paizo's Pathfinder Quest for the Frozen Flame. I will be jumping into that in just a minute. First of all, thank you for your patience. We're getting started a little bit late. I had some technical difficulties. As happens, my camera's decided not to connect, so that's always fun. Um, really quickly, LoreLink is the tool that you're going to see here on the screen where we are are able to utilize the tool to help plan and organize content and information for role-playing games as a game master. Our tool is entirely designed for game masters to help run the smoothest games possible. We've got a lot of exciting features coming out, and later this month we're going to be presenting at Origins Game Fair. So if you're at Origins later this month, do look us up. We're going to be happy to talk to you there. All right, now let's go ahead and jump into planning. So this is one of many parts of this series, Quest for the Frozen Flame, where I am doing the planning for this adventure. This is an adventure that I have been running for quite a while. I've been running the adventure since before LoreLink was ready to start being used. So I've been slowly migrating over my notes and moving into running my games month to month in this platform. And so I run this game generally once a month. I mean, every once in a while there's a down month. Everybody knows how that goes, but it'll take us a while. We're in the middle of the second of 3 books, so we're kind of getting into the thick of it. We're about the halfway point at this juncture. So let me go ahead and jump into our sessions. We completed. We've done a couple campaigns, or sorry, a couple actual gameplays since the last time that I streamed due to just kind of the quirk of the way timing works. So my stream last month happened right before the May game, and the June game has already happened, even though I'm just now streaming for June. So session 19 and 20 have been finished, and session 21 is up next. So we'll go ahead and do a couple little bookkeeping items that I have to do as part of that taking place. So I now know that session 21 is in fact the session where they're going to take on the tower. So we're going to make a note of that. It's going to happen there. We're in planning phase. That is absolutely correct. Um, got some locations. Yeah, we actually, I need to double check something. I may have actually misspoken. Saving the Dryad. Oh, nope, 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 nope. I misspoke. So what we're going to do here, this is not Take on the Tower. This is the one that we just did. So this was Clear the Worms from the Tatzelworms. Much better. Okay. And then once I save that, because yeah, this is the stuff that we just did. Now I'm going to come into sessions and create a new session, session 22. And this is one it's going to be Take on the Tower. Cool. And so I got that wrong. This is going to be this date. It's planning. So take Clear the Worms then is 21, but it actually happened this weekend. Call this active until I have a chance to finish doing all the things that I need to do. So I need to come in here to session 20. We're going to add some notes in here that I have prepared. Bear with me for just a moment. Huh, I am off one on my session numbering. Because I had, nope, I'm not. That is Clear the Worms, session 21. Yeah, that is exactly right. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to go back into session 20. That is where we did some exploring the mountains. So let me show you what that means really quickly. This will be a little bit more useful. If you've followed this entire series from the beginning, you'll probably know what I'm talking about, but I'll go ahead and do a quick little recap on the map. I'm going to switch into view mode. This is the map of the area where everyone's been exploring. This is where the party's been coming through. So last session, they basically came into here, this dark camp, and cleared that, and then came back to this way marker and followed the way marker up and over and through the mountain and around and down towards the lake. So we hit all of these different points up here. Once they made it back down to the lake, they returned to this soldiers' encampment down here in order to enlist their help in taking on the Ashen Tower all the way out here, which is kind of up next on their agenda in order to conquer this region and allow their own large group, their following, which consists of all kinds of animals and mammoths and a huge number of people. They're going to lead them to safety across this valley. So then that was what happened in session 20. So exploring that mountain, we're going to look at our notes. Okay, so we do have a bunch of notes in here that I took. What I haven't done yet is calculated the XP on that. So if I switch to Archives of Nethys really quickly, experience, XP awards. Okay, so the party level right now is level 6. So that would be the party level. So let's look through here. Defeated 2 shadows. So the shadows, let me expand my view here with you really quickly. We're going to go to different perspectives so that you can see. I've got the PDF of the adventure here. I'm kind of looking through it for some of the details that I need. Actually, it may be easier rather than searching for shadows. Let me search for the location. That was B14. There we go. Dark Camp. 2 shadows. So it's a moderate 5. Shadows. Creature 4. So that would be at party level 6. That's -2. So that would be 20 XP each. That's 40 XP. And then they completed these areas, had the soldiers camp, talked to them. Okay. So that's a really small amount of XP, just 40 XP for defeating those 2 shadows, even though they did a bunch of exploration and did talk with Commander Montgrim and made an agreement on how they're going to move forward. So they did a lot of things, and I want to account for that. So we're going to also grant a moderate accomplishment award. So the total XP is going to be 70 for this adventure. Then come into the next session, session 21. So in session 21, going back to the map, what they did is they took some of the soldiers back over here and visited, there's a forest patrol they had going on, and then had a worm den. And so they took care of the worm den. They ended up actually defeating the worms, but one of them actually surrendered. They had a conversation. They were able to save one of the other hyper intelligent tassel worms. They were able to save them, and heal them, and they recruited the Tatzelworms to join their cause and help take on the tower. So that was a pretty exciting time and involved a bunch of combat and diplomacy. And so they went to these different locations as a part of that. They started at the deserter encampment, and then they went here, and then they went to the worm den and completed those different sections. So all that was done. They did actually go one other location, which is here. Not the corrupted tree, the elder tree there. So that's where they ended. They actually ended at the elder tree. So we're going to, with selected, copy to an existing session, session 22, copy. Cool. So now the elder tree location is going to be their starting location for the next session. I've just done that. A couple things that I need to put in here. I took a few notes here. So they encountered the Tatzelworm. So let's look at what that might look like. Yeah, the worms in the tequila. I love, anyway, I love tequila. I don't necessarily love the worms in the tequila, but worm in this case is WYRM, but okay, back up. I went too far. There it is. Forest Patrol. But because they came about it from a different direction, a lot of this was actually not particularly relevant. Went to the worm den. Okay, so they defeated 6 Tatzelworms. So let's go ahead and Tatzelworm. For those of you listening who want to know what it looks like, that is what a Tatzelworm looks like. It's basically a serpent with a dragon head. Legacy content. Okay, creature 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are 10 XP each, but they did in fact defeat 6 of them. So 60 XP plus they defeated, so that's 60 XP. And then they defeated 2 higher level named Tatzelworms. They're named Retkel and Vretter, and they are creature 6s, each of them. So they're each 40 XP on their own, and even though one of them surrendered, that's still 80 XP for that. And they were able to recruit them to join their party. So yeah, there's no additional bonus for that, but they do get the value of them and as followers. So that's going to be good. So that's an extra 140 XP. That's 210 XP across those 2 sessions. See, doing some quick math here. They were at 150 XP, so now they're at plus 70 is 220. 220 plus 140 is 360 XP towards their next level. So the way leveling works in Pathfinder, there's a lot of different ways you can do leveling in Pathfinder. One of them is that you can just do milestone-based leveling, and that's fine, and we do that sometimes. I kind of like being able to give specific XP awards and everything, and maybe sometimes that means you level up a little bit early. Sometimes you may jump the gun on some scenes and end up doing things a little bit earlier than expected, and maybe you're just a little bit underpowered and things are super challenging. I do try to avoid being punitive with that, but sometimes it's fun to just have that little bit of variety. It's really up to you and your players as to what works for you. If you are doing the XP calculations, you just have to keep a running total. Okay, and you will note that I have this marked as secret from players. They don't see these notes specifically. What I do a lot of times is go ahead and write up a summary. So for this one, while it is fresh in my mind, we'll go ahead and create a summary note. And this is not going to be secret from players. Um, um, this is the Force Patrol. Spent 2 days walking there. So after a good night's rest, the soldiers led you to the Tatzelworm's lair, where they initiated combat as they had often done before with little success, while the party walked around and ambushed from the side. You successfully defeated three Tatzelworms in a single round of combat with only the characters Haze and Bright Moon being visible within the clearing. The others remained hidden. This caused tremendous cheering from the soldiers, who fought with renewed vigor. Then Sandel and Bright Moon led the party up the terraced platforms to a high cliff side cave entrance. To deal with the Tesla worm leaders. Meanwhile, Zandel's wolf Silver was sent to help the soldiers and dispatched 3 worms on his own. It's fun to call out the individual things that happen, the accomplishments of individual players or characters in the recap. After a very short skirmish in the entrance of the cave, Zandel became poisoned, but one of the leaders was killed. The remaining worm, one of the worm leaders, I'm going to give a name because we actually had that. Retkill was killed. The remaining worm asked to parlay in Draconic and stopped attacking. Party held action while Hayes began negotiations in Draconic. They quickly agreed to halt hostilities while negotiating and called back both the soldiers and the tassel worms below. At the end, Lundra was able to save to keep Retkill from dying and bring him back to health. And the tassel worms agreed to join their cause after realizing that the party was in opposition to Venexus, the evil white dragon, who terrorizes the area. Further exploration of the cave showed a small pool of glowing red water that it was determined was related to an ancient holy site, a holy shrine, and the cause for Retko and Verdor's advanced size, strength, and intelligence. The session ended with a journey to the Elder Tree, where you await the where you awaited the Tetzel worms and Mendivian soldiers before proceeding onward to take on the Ashen Tower. Sounds good. So it's not secret from players. I want them to be able to see that. One of the features we are currently working on is the ability to invite players into LoreLink, so they'll be able to see things that you as the GM allow them to see. So not quite ready to announce exactly when that's going to happen yet, but we are working on it. It's going to be very exciting. It's been something that a lot of folks have been asking for. So let me now go here. I can now consider this to be a completed session because I've done, completed session. I've done everything I wanted to do in terms of tracking the XP and writing up my session notes. I will then come into session 20, which is still showing as active. We're going to do the same thing. We already figured out the XP from it, but let's go ahead and write up some session notes really quickly. Oh, you know what? There's one thing I forgot. Before I do that, one little thing I forgot in the clearing the worms one. Let's edit this note really quickly. Summary. I forgot to actually plus 70 XP plus 7 days. I believe that makes it the 22 Rotus. I'll double check that in a moment. Okay. Come back to session 20. So I need to do this in order. Let's go ahead and create another summary note. I'm not going to keep the secret from players. Let's go ahead and do this right quick based on the previous notes. It is, I have my notes in another screen off camera just so that I can easily refer to it side by side because my memory is not that great. It's plus 120 XP and is plus, nope. I did that wrong. It's plus 70 XP. And plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. We left off at the 7th of Erutus. 7 plus 8 is 15, so that's 15 of Erutus. We're tracking the time on the calendar, so that's becomes kind of an important thing. So what happened is here the party spent some downtime with the following. Crafts some light barding for his wolf. You then returned to the mysterious darkness along the river, which the Landra dispelled, revealing remnants of evil and a pair of shadows. Hayes was able to communicate with the shadows and convinced them to bugger off rather than engaging in combat. Something this party does quite a lot. So next we went back to the last waymarker west of the mountain, the central mountain, and followed the route over the peak. During this trek, you discovered, let's go here, another waymarker, a mountain pass, a vantage point looking over the eastern side of the valley, albeit guarded by whirlwind. guarded by worlds you ran from. And finally, the last way marker pointing you, let's see here, down the mountain and across the plains. Another marker you had previously discovered. Okay, so that's fun. Okay, so it's plus 70 XP. I'm going to go ahead and make a note. It takes them up to 220. Okay, I'm going to save that. So that is the 15th of Erodus. Now we're going to come in here, this summary. That's not plus 70. That is 140. And we said that it takes them to 360 XP in total. And 15 plus 7 is indeed 22. So it is the 22nd of Erodus. So that is now correct. Got that. Come back to this tab. Good. We're going to go ahead and mark this one as complete. I have nothing else to do to it. Then session 22, which is the next one we're going to plan. So I've done all the wrap up now from my previous two games. And now we're going to look into kind of planning this here. So first thing we're going to do is add in locations. We've got the elder tree. Yes, that's where they're starting. So I'm going to mark that completed because they're already there. Then I'm going to add in the tower, the Ashen Tower. So come in here. B32. So we've got a bunch of B31, which they've already been to. B32, the Ashen Tower. Okay, cool. I think that, let me double check locations really quickly. The Ashen Tower. Yes, I have all these others. So the entry cave, the middle, so I've got to put all these in as well. Tie all these together, make them easier, faster and easier to find when we're actually during the game. Try to front load as much lookup and decision making as I possibly can. Don't always get that right, but I do try. Whenever I know there's something specific that the players expect to happen or they're going to ask about or whatever, I try to have those notes ready to go. Okay, so looking at the map then of the valley right quick. Right, I don't need this open. All right, so after the Ashen Valley Vale, sorry, the Ashen Tower, my bet is that they'll probably try to lead the following up a little bit closer, maybe into the woods here and off this mountain, but we'll see how that goes. There's another waymarker. I don't think they've been to these waymarkers yet, so those will be left for them to find. So I don't know where they'll go after the Ashen Tower. They might just stay put there. I don't know that that's something that I need to plan for this particular session. I do need to make sure that we know what's happening here. So those are all in here. Now, let's see if there's any events. Ashen Tower Entry Cave. Yes, that sounds like an event that I should have in here. Um, okay, I need to look these up 1 second. So I use Chrome tabs to have lots of different things open at the same time. So that's what you're looking at there. The event list. Pull a couple of these up. Attack on the Pinnacle. Attack on the Yurt. Cave and Hazard. Okay. Yep. So that is Attack on the Pinnacle. So that's also going to be in the session. I probably should have used a little bit better naming convention when I was figuring that out. Attack on the Yurt is definitely going to be in here. Fires on the horizon. No, that's not it. No, that's not it either. Okay. Looks like that's probably got it covered. Well, let's go into, let's do something really quickly. Let's go into each of these locations. Ashen Tower. What is associated here with the Ashen Tower? Session 22, take on the tower. You got these other locations. Perfect. That's what I expect to see. So now let's go to the entry cave. And from the entry cave, it's used by some things. It is used by take on the tower. It's used by the attack of the Ashen Tower entry cave, which is in here. We put a trigger warning on this content because it does actually have torture involved. Navigating to the middle caverns, we see that it is used by some crawling hand swarm. Okay, soul draining cage. I gotta add those. Soul draining cage. Okay, session 22 and these locations. Perfect. So let's move on to the pinnacle. Location is used by attack on the pinnacle, which I think we already have in here. Perfect. And then finally, the yurt itself has attack on the yurt. Perfect. So that's all those things. So now I'm going to go back to the location of B22, the Ashen Tower, pull a few other things in. So that's the entry cave. Nothing particularly interesting there. Here, they've got a couple items they might find and a character they might find. I don't feel the need to pull that into the session directly. It'll come up as they enter this location, so I'm not worried about that. Just wanted to double check them. See the pinnacle. Maybe there's some things. Okay. Nothing. And then the yurt. No other objects that I feel like associating. Okay, cool. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go through the events. Attack of the Ashen Tower Entry Cave. So we've got creatures linked to these. So these are already done. The Skeletal Hulk and the Bone Warrior, we've already filled out a bunch of stuff there. Um, Middle Caverns, cool. Nothing. Necromancer and the Zombie Brute, cool. Turkek, who's the Chief Necromancer, and some other Necromancers. All right, cool. So then the next thing that I need to add is some game objects. So one of them is, I believe, I may have the tassel worms in here. I do not seem to have the tassel worms in here, so let's go deal with that. Creatures. Nope, I have no tassel worms. So I'm going to add them because I need to be able to look them up quickly because they're going to become part of the party. So add this, switch this to create mode. So we're going to do tassel worms. We're going to link to them here. So we're going to link to a preview, but I'm also going to grab some basic stats, things that I need to look up a bunch. These things I need to be able to look up quickly on the fly. So I'm going to go ahead and copy those in. And that's good enough for what I want for the tassel worms. Then I'm going to associate that here. So they're going to be fighting on our side. Then the other thing that's going to be fighting on our side, let's go ahead and create a couple NPCs. There it is. Larger, more powerful tassel worm, otherwise known as jungle drake. I don't need to put that there. Go to the jungle drake. Okay. That gives all the abilities of the jungle drake. We're going to call this, grab some of these things again. There we go. I would like to duplicate that as is, and we're going to edit this because this is going to be brighter. They're identical in every way. I'm just going to track them separately because they're technically two completely separate creatures with the same stats. And We're going to add both of them here. So that accounts for the tassel worms that are joining the party. Next, I need to dig up, see what location is the deserter encampment. Okay, B, looks at a few, B12. Okay, so these are just soldiers. We have okay, so there are 12 soldiers here. Make a quick note. There were, where else did we find soldiers? Oops, yeah, we found soldiers at the Elder Tree, B17. Harvest, Billy Goose, and Ray. So I need all of them. Let's come in here to characters. All right. Arvis is a Mendevian soldier. And Gmail halfling soldier too. Okay, cool. And then we're going to look up soldier 2. Male halfling soldier. Yeah, tatzelworms are ambush snakes. Hilariously, the party was able to slide in like super sneaky and actually out ambush the tatzelworms, which is impressive. Male halfling soldier. Hmm. Hmm. Braggart, abjurer. Let's look for that. Maybe that'll be easier. Oh, it's a swashbuckler braggart. Got it. Interesting. I don't know what stats they intend me to use for those. I'll have to figure that out. go ahead and create them in here anyway. I just don't know what stats to give them. Okay. And Ray, finally, we'll create Ray. All of the NPCs, I'm going to go ahead and create and track them. There we go. Thanks. Save that. So Arvis and Ray. Goose. Because once they've met a named character, we've got to kind of keep that consistent. So there's 3 there. 12 the other location. Let's look. What other locations might we need? Oops. Not where I meant to go. We had, okay. B25, the pyre, the battlefield. 3 soldiers from the pyre. And then go back up here. We go to the battlefield. Bodil. He's fighting on his own. Then corpse field, the waymarker. No, nothing in any of these. We'll come here, the deserter encampment. Who do we have in here? Montgrim. We've got some lieutenants. So they defeated the Toutsa Worms, they defeated the Ghost, they defeated the Necromancers. The soldiers are willing to join. A total of 30 soldiers. So that means 17, we have 12 plus 3 plus 3. So that's 18. Plus Bodil is 19. Plus Commander Montgrim and 4 lieutenants takes you to 24. That would mean that there are, oh no, we skipped the lieutenants. Okay, so 19. There are 11 soldiers technically at B18. Okay. If you learn nothing else from watching me painfully go through the process of planning and organizing and figuring out what I'm going to do from session to session, hopefully you take at least one thing away from this. That is, your GMs deserve a little bit of appreciation. And I have friends that do a lot more of the GMing than I do, so I absolutely feel for them and appreciate everything they do to keep the games running smoothly. So I'll zoom in just a little bit on the Lorelink stuff here. Okay, we've got the deserter encampment. So we've got all that. So in my notes now, there's a total of 30 soldiers. I need to add the rest of these characters if they are not already here. Looks like they are not. So Bodil is the first one. We're gonna adopted son of Montgrim. His description. Humanoid chronicler. And we've got that. So is chronicler going to show up here? Pretty sure one. Hmm. I'll have to deal with stats for these. I'll have to do a little bit of digging. I'm not entirely sure where they have the stats for all these. Then, in addition to, let's get Bodil here. Go ahead and pull Bodil in. We've got Montgrim. We'll go ahead and create, even though he is not going to be going with them. Okay, so looking at Montgrim's stats right quick. Let's see if I can save an image of Montgrim to add. Yes, that works. We have Commander Montgrim, a short description of Montgrim. Deviant soldier is the commander. And we're going to add an image. Twitch. There we go, Montgrim. And the folder needs to be Quest for the Frozen Flame. All right, let's do a description and go ahead and save that image. And wait a moment. him and insert the image, and now I can save this. So now I have Commander Montgomery with an image. I'm not going to attach him to the session though, because he's not really going to be involved in fighting alongside them. He is sending his lieutenants for that, and he is keeping his soldiers back. He's sending 20 of his 30 soldiers forward and half of his lieutenants. So from my notes, he is sending Bodil, Moro, and Yosef. So let's add Moro and Yosef. All right. Lawful good, non-binary, half orc battle muse 4. Sweet. And we have Yosef. So I'll add Yosef. I'll go ahead and connect those two, Moro and Yosef. No, wrong. Not location, not event, game object. There we go. There we go. And Yosef. Now that those are in, I'll go ahead and create the remaining lieutenants. New free. Oops. And we'll just leave those in here. And oops, where's new free? In addition to new free, we have Timney. Okay, and Timney is a gnome gorilla. Gorilla, not gorilla. There's a big difference. Welcome to English language. It's fun. Okay, so now if I go to my characters, we should have all of them in there. Now I need to go into creatures, go ahead and create a soldier. So Mandevian soldiers. What are the stats? Does it give stats on the Mandevian soldiers? These soldiers, it does not say. Here, give me a second. I will share what I'm looking at. I am going back through all the references to soldiers in here to see if I can find Mendevian soldiers. Yep. Ex-Crusader. Hmm. I'll use the bodyguard stat block. Okay, bodyguard. So bodyguard. Bodyguard creature 1. Cool. So we're going to humanoid. Humanoid soldier. I'm going to say and we'll link to the stats for the bodyguard. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and grab a couple of our stat blocks here so that we have them for easy reference for the encounter. Save that. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in the Mendevian soldier. Perfect. So I feel like maybe this is a little bit easier than I was giving it credit for. Edit Bodil. Bodil is Chronicler. Creature 3. Oh, that's actually reasonable. Okay, cool. There we go. Humanoid Chronicler. The description is that. Perception, and then go ahead and do those things and save. Okay, much better. And then one of the great things about having everything linked together is once I've updated the record there, right, every place that it's linked to that character record, it gets updated. So we know what's where as we click around through the system during a session. So that's going to be great. New free is a spell shield. I don't see any spell shield. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to look through the toolbox. There might be spoilers in the toolbox, so just be aware if you're watching and actually playing in this game. A beaver, a bison, a Roru demon, an elk, a lagopher, a necrohusk. Oh, that's fun. Ashen Swale, the Tyrannical Godcaller, and Venexus, but nothing about, okay, Spell Shield. All right, that's fine. Okay, well, I got nothing on that one, so Let's move on to the next one. CAFO spell shield. Let's try one more thing. Do a quick Google search on spell. Oh, are you kidding me? Nope, nope. Okay, well, I don't see it. Looks like, oh, it's is that a first edition thing? Spell shield. No, there's a first edition ability spell shield, but I don't see anything about this NPC class, so that's annoying. All right, well, whatever. Aggravating. Commander Arvis. Timney. Soldier Bellajuice. Okay, Arvis. Arvis is a soldier. So what we're going to do, okay, perfect. So since we don't have anything in here, what we're going to do for Halfling Soldier is same thing we did here. The Mendevian Soldiers, we're just going to do this, right? Mendevian Soldier, call it a day, boom. Timney is a gorilla. Let's see if there's a gorilla. Not a gorilla. Really? Really? Interesting. It is a first edition archetype of a rogue. So don't know what's going on. Well, I guess I'm not going to fill these details out right now. I've got to just figure out what in the world they mean. So that's also a one that's going to be hard to look up. Battle Muse. Anything? Battle Muse? Nope. Tactician maybe? Nothing. Okay, well. I will have to do a little bit of digging around some forums and see if I can figure out the correct thing to do for all those. Regardless, we're now in a position, if I come back, oops. So if I come back here to Lost Mammoth Valley and I come back in here to our session, take on the tower. Now I've got a lot of stuff linked into this one because this is a really big one and it includes all of their NPCs. So now what I need to do is look back over this, understanding everybody that's coming along for the ride and see if I can't figure out what the strategy needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and start clicking through. So the Ashen Tower. Give a quick peek at our time. Oh, we're actually almost at stream time, so I'm going to do this real quick. I was expecting this to be a short stream, but some of that took me longer than I thought it would. Ashen Tower, top and within a cliff side. It's a necromantic facility built by Ashen Swale. Looking at strategery, they can scale the 100-foot cliff, which only one, maybe two of the characters can do. So all of maybe the party can make it up, given their abilities, and the soldiers and the Tatzelworms can go the easy way and kind of draw some fire. If they're willing to do that, that might be an option. I can see that them trying to do that. Okay, so we'll get into entry cave. Actually, let me look at this really quickly again. Cave at the base and yurt on top. Regardless of the route, the yurt on the cliff top is surrounded by a defensive ring of sharpened sticks, B32C. Okay. So my assumption would be then, based on what I'm seeing, is if they take the shortcut, they can potentially get straight to B32C instead of going and attack the yurt from there and skip the entry cave in the middle caverns. So if they go straight to the entry cave, pens of sickly animals, 3 bone warriors, bunch of creatures in here. This is the attack. So let's look at the event here. 3 bone warriors and a skeletal hulk. Okay, so they have to deal with that. That's going to be a fight. But let's look at bone warriors and skeletal hulk really quickly. The bone warrior is a creature 4. The skeletal hulk is... I forgot to list it, so fortunately, I have it linked to here. So skeletal hulk, oh, creature 7, okay. Go ahead and make that note right there in the name because I want that reminder. So if they send the Tatzelworms and the soldiers in, that's going to be pretty challenging, but there's a lot of soldiers and Tatzelworms. And if we look at our characters, the lieutenants are level 4 and the Tatzelworms are 6. So double checking. Yeah, creature 6. So we're going to do this. Go ahead and edit that here. Oops. So that means that potentially the PCs don't need to come through here if they don't want to. It's not going to be the end of the world. Okay. Let's go back to the location real quick, the entry cave. Now we're going to go to the middle caverns. Middle caverns have a whole bunch of instruments of torture and nasty stuff, including a hazard. So we have a couple items. We have Couple hazards, yeah. So the only thing really in there is the hazards. So all they have to do is take the entry and hold it. So now let's go to the pinnacle. I'm just assuming that the party, the way I know them, is going to do their best to bypass the entry and do everything in the most convoluted way humanly possible to make my life as easy as possible. So, you'll go everywhere even if you don't need to. That is probably true. Yes, exactly. I don't know. So I don't know if he'll bypass or not. Be interesting to see. So they'll come in here. They have these things here. Okay. The attack on the pinnacle. 4 zombie brutes. If the party is particularly loud. Bard. Um, One necromancer from the yurt comes out to investigate. Imagine that. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then the yurt location. I might need to toughen this up just a little bit. Exactly right. That's fair. Team necromancers, terrific. Okay, cool. Damn fear. Turkic is a creature 7. Let's go ahead and make that note. There's a couple creature 7s coming into here, so those aren't trivial. Okay. All right. Well, I think that gets me the technical bits of the planning, everything that I needed there. I've got the session notes from the last 2 sessions, which is important. Um, we're pretty good shape now, so I think I can come into this session. It is my active session now. And we will see when I meet next time. So I will be back here for this stream again in a month. I don't think it's on the calendar yet, but we'll do one sometime in July. And in the meanwhile, I do plan to actually hopefully run this game between now and the next time I stream. And we'll see how it goes. So thank you so much for joining me here tonight. Hope you found this interesting or helpful in some way. Again, this is LoreLink. It's been my pleasure to show you kind of how LoreLink works, how I use LoreLink to plan my sessions, and we welcome any feedback that you have on the LoreLink system as we continue to push towards public release. All of our Kickstarter backers have had access to it for several months now, so it's been really exciting to get people into the system and playing around with it. We will be at Origins later this month, so if you are going to Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio, I would encourage you to come hang out, say hi. Would love to see you and talk with you. That'd be fantastic. Do also please feel free to follow us on social media or subscribe to our newsletter through the website. That's a great way for you to follow along and get involved. So thanks very much. Have a great evening, and I will talk to you all later.